right, how's everyone doing this afternoon? What an exciting day to recognize an incredible story here in Royal Oak. And first and foremost, I would like to ask any descendants of the Hamer family to stand up, raise your hand, because this day is really about the history that you bring to this great city. A legacy that lives on today and that we're incredibly proud of. Today with us, we do have some elected members. I'd like to recognize Chairman David Woodward, who's here from Oakland County. We have Commissioner Herzog, Commissioner Macy, and Commissioner Cheatham back here with Northwood, here from the city of Royal Oak. We have school board member Tim Chikorsky here is with us as well. And Superintendent Mary Beth Fitzpatrick. And we're very well represented by Royal Oak's Human Rights Commission and our Parks Commission and a lot of city staff here, which I could be here all day recognizing. So let's give a round of applause for all the people here today. Projects like these aren't easy, and it takes not only motivation, inspiration, and focus on telling an important story, it also takes contributions. And so certainly we want to thank Oakland County Parks for their support, a $50,000 contribution to make this possible. Thank you, Mr. Woodward. Also the Bogie Group for their in-kind contributions, and the Commission for the Arts, and many other countless supporters that help make this park and story possible and more visible. It's really an incredible part of our history here in Royal Oak. And it is indeed an inspiring story. It is certainly a family story. It's a Royal Oak story. It is a Michigan story. It's an American story. And it's a story about overcoming unbelievable odds and circumstances to leave a legacy that we enjoy here today in Royal Oak. Elizabeth and Henry Hamer were and are our first pioneers, one of our first pioneers here in the city of Royal Oak. And it's just an incredible piece of history that we're so blessed and proud to be a part of as residents here in Royal Oak. And we're just so excited for all the hard work, especially I know Keisha did a tremendous job really taking on this incredible endeavor. And like I said, it isn't easy to do these things. It takes hard work, it takes focus, and it takes support from a bigger community. And on behalf of the citizens of Royal Oak, we couldn't be more proud to be standing here today with all of you in celebrating not only history, celebrating not only amazing pioneers, celebrating a great family, but celebrating what community means. And we're just so happy to be here. It's my pleasure now to introduce our next speaker. She is the chairperson of the Michigan Freedom Trail Commission at Oakland University, Rochelle Dequoy.
In 1860, close to 4 million African Americans were enslaved throughout the southern states. We know, according to historical records, through our Canadian friends across the waterways, that 40 million had traveled through Detroit seeking their freedom, fighting through odds that were totally challenging. Coming to Detroit for freedom by way of swamps, sometime arriving with barely a strip of clothes on their backs. But for those who made the journey, they found their way to freedom by way of Canada. But something happened to some of the freedom seekers. They began to double back to Michigan. And some of those freedom seekers who doubled back to Michigan, many of them started to find jobs and reside in Oakland County. The Hamer story is so special because of the voyage that Henry and Elizabeth took from Covington, Connecticut, or Covington, Kentucky, to Michigan was a very brave venture. Enslaved African Americans who would often escape would have potentially had been returned to slavery, sold down the river, which was an actual fear of many African Americans, which meant that they would have gone to Mississippi or New Orleans for a much severe form of slavery. But the Hamers made it. And they made it for us all to be proud of the fact that their story will be a legacy that has been laid down here in Oakland County for 168 years. And the reason why I say their story is special, not only as a historian, but because many freedom seekers, we don't know their story. This story has been kept in the family through oral history, through documentation, and that's what makes them additionally special. There are not too many descendants who can say that they are from freedom seekers. So on behalf of the National Network to Freedom, along with the Michigan Freedom Trail Commission, we are here to always dedicate and preserve and collect and assist communities in the state of uplifting these stories of resistance and freedom and self-determination. We also want to make sure that we understand that at this time we honor their story of resistance and freedom and how they were able to escape flight. The Michigan Freedom Trail is committed to this cause, which is a special think tank out of the governor's office, and I proudly have had the honor to serving under 3 governors. I sit in a seat where I am a specialist in African American history for the state, and I was so honored to meet Lakeisha and have her share her story with me, along with others at the Royal Oak Museum and Research Center and Society. So take this story today, learn from it, and as your mayor stated, this is just not a Royal Oak story, but this is an American story. Congratulations on behalf of the organizations that I represent.
Hi everyone, I want to thank you all for coming out today. It is a gorgeous day to celebrate life and roots. I want to thank all of our children from Northwood Elementary for coming out. You guys are literally making history right now. Know that I appreciate you guys for being here and actually opening up your mind and embracing Black excellence in Black history, because Black history is American history. So always remember that when you tell your parents, your friends, and strangers. So today is a moment to reflect importance of roots. You have to be rooted in something. God, family, friends, you have to be rooted. And find out why you're rooted in that soil, that moist soil that you want to be a part of. So I want to acknowledge the city of Royal Oak. Thank you guys so much for opening up your hearts and taking the time to understand my family and the legacy that they left behind in the struggle, not so much the struggle, but the resilience of freedom seeking. So we want to remove the word slaves. We want to touch base on freedom seeking. We are not property. No one here is property. So in order for us to move forward, we have to acknowledge that in American history, we had a hard part and a very sour part in our history. So we want to make sure that we move forward and grow from it. So my ancestors, Elizabeth Hamer and Henry Hamer, were determined to seek freedom and growth. They were determined to create a family in our city, They had to go through the Underground Railroad, and they have to trust people. They had to trust people to get to where they're at right now. And I also want to acknowledge the people that are here today. My father, my aunts, my grandparents, and a lot of people that was lost along the way. They are the reason why I'm here today. They are the reason why I continue to speak about my family. You have to acknowledge the fact that the struggles that they went for, that they're trying to make a better living for us. So I want to acknowledge the Hamer, the Finch, and the Wilkins family. Each generation brought so much growth to Royal Oak, so I want to acknowledge them right now. And in a moment of silence, I just want to just embrace knowing that they're here in spirit. So if we could take a quick second just to embrace, the spirit of my ancestors. Alrighty. I am the great-great-great-grandchild of Elizabeth and Henry Hamer. They fled slavery in 1856 through the Underground Railroad through Windsor. Elizabeth was into her second trimester of her, we believe, could be a second or third child, but we're not positive. But she was pregnant. And so to bring a birth into slavery is something that she did not want to do. So her and Henry decided that they would leave slavery and head up north to find freedom. This triangle kind of represents each generation. So we have the Hamer, the Finch, and the Wilkins. So I am from the Wilkins generation. And they raised 6 children. Every single family member that they had given birth to are at the Royal Oak Cemetery. So if you ever want to take a field trip, they're in the Royal Oak Cemetery. The family was one of the first Black pioneering families in Royal Oak. So to have that accomplishment means a lot. Living in a community where there was a lot of white people, just knowing that they could trust other people and white people, that just speaks a lot of volumes for them. Coming from being owned by, a white person is just kind of hard to trust. So I will say that the Starr family, which is another prominent family in Royal Oak, they worked for them. They were towel makers and farmers. Elizabeth was a midwife and actually delivered a few babies in Royal Oak. And honestly, I just believe that their story is so good. If you want to learn more about the Hamer Finch Wilkins, I suggest going to the Royal Oak Historical Museum and learning a little bit about more of what they do. So I'm going to keep it short. But again, I thank you guys all for coming out, and I appreciate you guys acknowledging my history. And now we're going to introduce our artist, Austen.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here today. I really think about a piece of art as a journey. And I think about what Elizabeth must have went through. And it deeply saddens me. And it empowers me to make journeys of my own that are hard. I think what I've learned the most from building this sculpture is that the women in my life, the Black women in my life, have always been beacons. And I think about this sculpture being that for all of us. I think about this place here being a beacon. And when you see this statue, I think it's appropriate to ask for wisdom and guidance. And it's given me that. I was making the eyes of this sculpture and it looked at me and it scared me for a second. And I think that was something really empowering for me because I sometimes get lost. And I think that's appropriate these days. Sometimes it happens. And I think about just a couple weeks ago going to visit my grandmother and how powerful that presence is in all of our lives. That wisdom, that energy, that love. You can feel it before you even walk in the room sometimes. How powerful it is to know that somebody loves you from far away, even if they're not on this earth. So when I was given the gift of being able to create this sculpture, I wanted to embody that in something and memorialize that energy. And so I couldn't really sculpt her as an escaped slave, because that's not really the way I feel like she should be seen. I wanted to sculpt her as a queen mother. In Africa, the queen mother is the head of a tribe. She's the beacon of that tribe, and she embodies that wisdom. And this is a statement from my own heart, to you and to Keisha. Thank you so much for this opportunity, to create something like that. So I want to just thank all the people that helped this happen. I want to thank Judy Davids from Royal Oak City, and I want to thank Keisha for being a forefronter on getting this statue made. I want to thank the people in my life, my friends, my mother, my grandmother, for inspiring me to make this sculpture. I want to thank all of you guys for being here today. I want to thank my studio manager for making sure I was here on time today, which never happens. And I want to unveil this statue to you guys. I really want to show you what I made. Is it okay if the little kids help me? You guys want to help? Is that all right? Everybody.
All right, little ones. Hold up 1 second. So exciting. I know.